Good morning, welcome to Board Game Barrister, our local game shop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm Andy, and I'm here with Elizabeth, Courtney, and Gordon, and today we're talking Jungo, a delightful little card game where you're going to have a hand of cards that you can't rearrange, and if you can't play a set stronger than the one on the table, you gotta go to the Jungo. Let's get into it. Welcome to Jungo from Happy Camper Games, a card game for 2 to 5 players that's normally going to take you between 15 and 45 minutes, depending on how long you want to play. To get our game started, we're going to shuffle up our deck of 72 cards, and then we're going to deal a hand to each player at the table. If you're playing with 2 or 3 players, everybody gets 10 cards. And if you're playing with 4 or 5 players, everybody gets 8 cards. You're going to take a look at your hand of cards, and the first thing you need to know is that you're not allowed to rearrange this hand once it's been dealt to you. So this is the order these cards were dealt to me, this is the order they're going to stay in for now. Each card in the game has a number value, and the more of a matching number we have adjacent to itself, like this pair of 1s here that are already adjacent to each other, the stronger our hand becomes. And occasionally you'll see one of these duo value cards that can act as either of the numbers printed on them. To get us started, the player who most recently ate a banana is going to make the first play of the game. And on your turn, you're going to choose between 2 different options. First, you can make a play, which means you're going to play cards onto the table in front of yourself. Or second, you can go to the Jungo, which means you're going to be drawing the top card of the Jungo deck and doing something with it. Let's start with the playing option. The rule here is that you can play 1 or more cards that are matched and adjacent to each other from your hand. So a player could play a single 2, or if they had 3 8s next to each other, they could play 3 8s as their play. When there's a play of cards in front of somebody at the table, then there's an additional requirement for playing cards, which is that the cards you play have to be a stronger set than the one that's currently on the table. A stronger set means that it either has the same number of cards but of a higher value, or is just playing more cards than the current set. So if we look back at our hand, we could beat this 2 that's currently on the table with a single 4 because it's the same number of cards but a higher value, or with this pair of 1s because it's more cards than the current set. Let's play the 4 because that means we're going to be able to get these 2 7s next to each other, which strengthens our hand a little bit. Now when you play a card in front of yourself, that means you're going to be the current set on the table, and now you're going to decide what to do with the set of cards you beat. You can either add those cards anywhere you want to in your hand, you can even split them up if you want to, or you can just plain discard all of them to the discard pile. In the case of this 2, I don't see any reason not to add another 2 next to this other 2 and strengthen that set. Play's going to continue in clockwise order, maybe those sets get stronger and stronger as we go. And some turns you either won't have a strong enough set to beat what's currently on the table, or you may just decide that you don't want to play cards that would beat the set that's currently on the table. And in those times, you're going to use the second play option, which is to go to the Jungo. To start, when you go to the Jungo, you're always going to draw the top card of the deck and take a look at it without showing anybody else at the table. And there are 3 things you can do with this card. You can add it to your hand anywhere you want to, possibly strengthening some of the sets in your hand. Or second, if you don't think the card will help your hand and you don't want to add more cards, you can discard it. Or third, if luck is on your side and the card that you draw makes it so that you have cards available in your hand such that you could play this card and then add adjacent cards from your hand to beat the current set, that's called invoking the law of the jungle, and we could do that right now. To do that, we're going to put the card we just drew in front of ourselves, say, I declare law of the jungle, and then pick 0 or more adjacent cards from your hand such that the set you play will then beat the one currently on the table. Say it was an interesting case where the only set on the table before my turn was this 6, then all I need to invoke the law of the jungle is the 7 I just drew off the deck. But in this case where we're competing with 3 6s, we are going to have to add those 2 other 7s from our hand. And that counts as if we had played these cards this turn. So then we can add these cards to our hand if we want to, or just let them go by the wayside and discard them. Now if you make a strong play and everyone around the table takes a turn without beating your set of cards, and it makes it all the way back to you with these still in front of you, then you get to discard these cards, and you can take a fresh turn by playing any cards you want to out of your hand, or heading to the Jungo if you want to. Your goal in the game is to be the first player to empty your hand. So if you play any cards during your turn and you've got no cards left after that play, that means you win immediately. The game suggests that you play until a single player has won 2 times, which is what we did today, and we had a blast with it.
Jungo time, Jungo time.
Jungo time.
We keep you honest. 4 6s.
I gotta go to the Jungo. It is the law of the Jungo.
Okay.
Oh!
Fairly earned. One
Now
cannot
this is
argue with the law of the
interesting.
Jungo.
I really loved how the opening hand really determined how you're going to play that round. You might have various numbers scattered around your hand and you're not allowed to move them. So I either spent time trying to get rid of in-between cards or trying to build up other cards. So it was fun.
There was lots of very interesting decisions, right? Sometimes you had the opportunity. So if you could beat the current set, maybe you didn't want to. There was certainly one time where I chose to not take that because it was not going to add anything into my hand. If you beat it, yes, you get the cards out of your hand, but you're also adding resources back to your hand, and that's kind of fun. And then where do you put them? And if not, then you get to go to the Jungo, and sometimes it's a card that you don't want, so it's just like you kind of passed a turn. But other times you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Now, where do I get to put this? Really easy little decision points that you don't need to make. But there's lots of little fun things about how am I going to sculpt this hand through a number of different vectors. It was really really enjoyable.
Yeah, that's actually the really nice thing is that in this game, Gordon can put the extra thought that he wants to put in of min-maxing all the numbers and all the possibilities and all the probabilities of how the numbers are going to fall out. And I don't have to put in any extra thought at all. I can just see, I have, 2 6s and I have 3 2s. Both of these are good. The 3 2s is actually stronger, so I'm going to play the 2 6s first and just be opportunistic. And I don't really have to put the extra measure of thought in if I don't want to, and we could be playing the exact same game.
Yeah, it was a fun pacing between those two strategies as well. The slow, methodical, I'm going to build up a way that I can take control of the round at the end of the round, versus the I'm going to make every play I can to dump cards out of my hand to try to sneak out a win. And Elizabeth pulled that off in one round where nobody was paying attention. We were all just trying to make our hands better, and then she said, well, I've won it. And we all went, well, what are we going to do with all these cards we've been working on?
I'm going to play an 8 and take that 7. Thank you.
Got it.
2 4s! Yeah!
No!
Oh!
I didn't see that coming. Good job. This was the...
My plan took too long.
Hey folks, sorry to interrupt. This is just a 15-second reminder that we're a small team of board game lovers running an actual board game shop here in Wisconsin. If you like what we do, you can support us directly by shopping with us online or by stopping in the next time you're in our area. Thank you. All right, back to your video.
I also learned over time, normally when I'm playing a card game like this, I always want to keep higher cards. So I found it very difficult for me to sort of get rid of any 8s that I had collected along the way. But I slowly learned that, hey, okay, get rid of this because you're trying to get rid of your hand. Jungo, Jungo, Jungo. Ooh, I invoke the law of the Jungo. I'm so excited.
I mean...
I have 3 5s.
You want...
I mean, the box says ages 8 and up, but I feel like you could definitely go a little younger than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a 6 or 7-year-old might not grasp all of the nuances that we just talked about, but could certainly interact with the gameplay of the game. The not rearranging your hand is maybe the hardest part, but for a kid who hasn't done a ton of card games in the first place, rearranging your hand often is kind of unnatural for them in the first place anyway. So I agree. I think this game is for anybody. Like a group of friends at a bar is going to love the kind of classic card game playing sets to beat other sets mechanic, plus the gambling of looking for big pulls off the top of the deck. And a family with younger kids is going to have a really good time interacting with all of the mechanics that they made not too crunchy so that it's really accessible.
The gameplay in this, where you are playing a set and then trying to beat the other set on the table, very reminiscent of Scout, which has been a fantastic game over the last number of years. But this is just easier. It just removes a couple of really important mechanics that you don't feel the loss of. It just makes the game go faster. It makes it more accessible to a lot of people. It removes the little fiddly bits on the table. So I would definitely play the 2 of them with different groups, because there are people who I've played Scout with where it was not the fit for them, but Jungo totally would be.
All right, and for another really addictive little card game that also has some really unique gameplay, we also think you should check out Kariba. That one was fantastic, and I think it'll play well with any group you're playing with, just like Jungo. For the time being, you can leave a comment if you got one, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see our new videos every week, and check out our online store where you're gonna find Jungo and a bunch of other cool stuff. Thanks for joining us this week. We're gonna see you next time. Thanks.